Hi Rams, this is homework for Wednesday, May 5th. At a career fair, various positions were being advertised with their average annual salary. Over a 30-year career, how much more will the electrical engineer make than the electrician? So here's our electrical engineer, and we don't need the technician. Technician. Okay, so over 30 years, we want to know how much more. To find how much more, you're going to subtract. So instead of multiplying both of these by 30, I'm going to subtract first and then multiply just the one number by 30. Okay, so I have $95,200 minus $51,800, and we will find the difference that they make in just 1 year. Okay, when we do that, we get $43,400. So this is their 1 year difference, and we want to know over a 30-year career. So you would multiply by 30, okay, and you will get $1,302,000. The answer is A. So the other option is to multiply either career or each career by 30 to find out what their total salary would be for 30 years, and then you can subtract as well. But when we learned this a long time ago, we taught you that subtracting first gives you less or much smaller numbers to have to work with and fewer steps. Okay, number 2. Julian tracks her progress on her spelling test over a period of 4 weeks. Which list shows her scores from greatest to least? First thing I notice when I look at these 4 scores is that I have no way of comparing them because they are not in the same form. When we talk about test scores, I usually want to see them as a percent. They made an 82% in week 3. Now let's look at week 4. I have 78 hundredths, and percent means out of 100, so that means I have 78% because you moved your decimal 2 places, and now I have 78%. Okay, now I have 2 fractions. We need to make them into a decimal first by division, and then you can move your decimal 2 places to get the percent, okay? So top dog in the house, 25 divided by 30. 30 cannot go into 2 or 5. Add your decimal. Add a 0. 30 into 250. Well, I know 3 goes into 24 8 times. 8 times 3 would be 24. Add your 0, 240. Subtract and get 10. We're not done, so bring down another 0. 30 into 100. 3, because 3 times 30 is 90. Subtract and get 10. And I notice a pattern happening. So when you move your decimal 2 places, you get 83.3%. Okay, week 2, 11 out of 15. So top dog in the house. 15 cannot go into 1 or 11. Add your decimal, add a 0. 15 into 110 times 7. 7 times 15 gives me 105. Subtract and get 5. Add another 0. 15 into 50. 3 times. 3 times 15 is 45. Subtract and get 5. There's going to be another pattern. When I recognize the pattern, I can stop. Move your decimal 2 places. I have 73.3%. Okay, so now I have all of them into percents, and we need to order them from greatest to least. So my largest number is week 1. My next is week 3 at 82%. Next largest is week 4. And your smallest is week 2. So D has them in the correct order of 1, 3, 4, 2. Okay, number 3. The cards below have various rational numbers on them. Which of the following diagrams shows the numbers in the correct sets? So what you need to pay attention to is what these sets are named. So A has rational and integers. An integer are the whole numbers and their opposites, meaning your basic numbers and the negatives, but no fractions, no decimals. Here's a fraction, here's a decimal. Those are not integers, so it's not A. And looking at B, a whole number are all of your counting numbers and 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, on and on and on. No negatives, no decimals, no fractions. Here's a negative, here's a fraction. Those are not whole numbers, so B is not correct. C, integers, again, are whole numbers and their opposites. So it does include 0, does include -8. This is just -4. And on the outside, 2 is not just a rational number. It would go into integers and then into whole numbers, but it is not classified right here because it can go into the inner set. And D, 2 and 0 are the whole numbers, and all the other numbers are rational numbers that cannot be a whole number. So D is correct. Okay, number 4. 3 points form a triangle and are graphed on the coordinate plane. Which of the ordered pairs below represent a point on the triangle? Okay, so what I would do, since I already have points on here, I can label them, but that might get a little messy. So I'm going to plot the points of my answer choices onto my graph and see which one lines up with my triangle points. Okay, A, -1, -0.5. So I'm going to go to -1, -0.5. There is no point right there. B says 2, so I'm going to go +2 up to 3, which would be off your grid. There is no dot there. C says 1, so this way, -1.5. That's about right here. Oh, I messed up on A. Sorry. -1's right here, and -0.5. That is H. But again, not C, and then D is -1, -1. There's no dot there. Okay, your answer is A. Sorry about that. Okay, 5. Jeremy is packaging a stew into to-go containers. There are 8 3/4 cups of stew that need to be put into 5 to-go containers equally. How many cups of stew will be in each container? So when you see a problem like this, the first thing you have to do is identify what operation is happening. We have a total amount of stew that needs to be put into containers equally. You have a big pot of stew and you're dividing it up. Okay, this is division. Okay, so I have 8 3/4 that needs to be divided into 5 containers. Our answers are in fractions, so I want to keep my numbers as fractions, but to divide, I know this needs to be a fraction, and then we have to do Texas popcorn. Go that way. 4 times 8 is 32. 32 plus 3 is 35. Keep your same denominator, 35 over 4. And then when you divide, you do no sir. S means keep the first fraction the same. Inverse operation and reciprocal or flip your second fraction. And now you multiply straight across. 35 times 1 is 35. 4 times 5 is 20. This is not simplified. This is an improper fraction. And to get my mixed number, you divide. Top dog in the house. 35 divided by 20. 20 can go into 35 one time. 1 times 20 is 20. Subtract and get 15. And now you rewrite your fraction, 1 and 15 over 20. Still not simplified. You could leave your 1 alone, and you're going to simplify 15 over 20, and you can divide both by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So it's 1 and 3/4. C. Yes. Okay, 6. Mrs. Kenny teaches a ceramics class. She finds that she has 7/8 of a pound of clay for a project. The project requires 1/6 of a pound. How many projects can Miss Kenny complete without running out of clay? Okay, so you have this much clay. We have 7/8 of a pound. Each project requires 1/6 of a pound. So let's say this much for one, this much for one, this much for one. What is happening to my clay? Am I multiplying my clay? No, I'm dividing it up to how many projects we can have. This is another division problem. You have your total, divide it by how much goes into each project, and that will give you the number of projects. Okay, so can we divide fractions? No, sir. That means reciprocal, not reciprocal, inverse, and then reciprocal. Okay, so 7 times 6 is 42. 8 times 1 is 8. Top dog in the house. 8 into 4, put 8 into 42. Goes 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40, subtracting it 2. And then you rewrite your fraction as 5 over 2 and 2/8. and you can reduce 2/8 to 1/4. So 5 and 1/4. And B is your answer. Okay, question number 7. A piece of string measures 2 16/20 meters. Which of the following is equivalent to the length of string? So you are taking this fraction and turning it into a decimal. Okay, so we know our 2 is going to stay the same. It's going to be 2 point something. But we need 16/20 to be a decimal. So you can divide straight away, but 20 is also equally, or goes well into 100. So you can do times 5, whatever you do the bottom, you do the top. 16 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So I have 80 out of 100, or 80 hundredths. So the answer is B. And you would get the same thing if you did 16 divided by 20. You would still get 0.8. Okay, that is your Wednesday homework.